Okay, so I was just watching a National Geographic documentary about animals. I've always been fascinated with the natural world, and back in university years, I had a ritual every night before going to bed. The way I'd kind of fall asleep and relax myself is I'd put like a natural type documentary, okay? And I had them all downloaded. I had the entire David Attenborough series. The Planet Earth series is magnificent. And I just really want to pay respects to David Attenborough. He's got such love for nature, and I just, I admire that. So, as I'm watching, I just kind of take it in. And the particular documentary that I was watching is about turf wars between lions and rhinos, okay? And so it shows you the constant bickering between rhinos and lions to claim territory, the intimidation tactics they use, and at the same time it shows you the fighting that happens between the rhinos themselves and between the lions themselves, and there's plenty of it. And the context that I have this time as I'm watching these documentaries, as I'm having this phase again, is a little bit different than before, because I'm more familiar with the law of karma and reincarnation. And at that time that I had this crazy phase of watching natural documentaries, I didn't even know that people believed in such thing as reincarnation. That idea was not even in my field of awareness to begin with. Okay, this was a long time ago. So I'm watching this, and I can't help but think of the 6 levels of existence in Buddhism, right? I made a very detailed video about it before. Essentially, you have the 4 lower realms, with the lowest one being hell, the second one being animals, which is what I want to talk about here, the third one being hungry ghosts, the fourth one being demons, and those are all, according to Buddhists, realms full of suffering. The experience of being incarnated in such realms is just suffering. And then you've got the human realm, which is a mix of dukkha, suffering, and pleasure, also pain and pleasure. So this is where you get to experience the duality, and it's generally thought of as a good thing. It's a precious thing to be a human being, because you get to experience both sides, whereas in the 4 lower realms it's pure suffering. And then the highest realm is the God realm, okay? And that's sort of the most detailed one, the 31 levels of existence, and within them is these 6 realms, the God one being the most detailed. And thus this is where things get a lot better, okay, and more pleasurable and everything. But ultimately nirvana is outside all of these altogether. So I can totally see why Buddhists say that the animal realm is a lower realm and it is full of suffering. And the reason that they use is because the animals are constantly living in a fight or flight existence. Okay, they're constantly, and it differs from animal to animal, right? It really differs from one animal to another. Okay, so for some animals it's more extreme than for other animals. Okay, and so you could see in the documentary that for rhinos and lions it's pretty intense. That's their constant daily struggle. It's fight or flight. It almost doesn't stop, actually. Okay, because you take the lions, for example, they sleep 16 hours a day, and then they're up for the other 8 hours. And what do you think they're doing those 8 hours? They're either fighting amongst each other. The male lions are fighting amongst each other to claim territory or protect from other lions, protect their pride. And then the lioness are going about hunting, and it ain't easy hunting. The ratio of successful hunts is not as big as you would think it is, because a lot of these animals that they hunt are pretty quick. And I've watched enough documentaries on lions to know that they go hungry often. They go hungry often, often. So for an animal like lion, it clearly that it is a life full of suffering. Now, it's funny because as humans, we're sort of in this duality. We have the pleasure and the pain, but most of us in this day and age are ignorant. We don't know. So then we associate things like when you say to somebody, "You're a lion. You're brave as a lion. You're a lion." That's considered a magnificent compliment, isn't it? You're a lion. He's a lion. He's got the heart of a lion. And you've got people, getting tattoos of lions. I mean, lions are magnificently beautiful, right? And you've got people associating with the lion energy, and sort of there's this assumption that it is a pleasant thing to be a lion. They're strong. They can pretty much, dismantle anybody. And so we are humans. We have this such capacity for empathy and such capacity for evil also, for total disregard and benevolence. Really, we're very benevolent and very malevolent. Okay, and so we, the benevolent part of us, the shadow part, says, "Look at this lion. What a strong beast! Wow, look at him just destroying everyone." Now the lion isn't thinking about it like this. Okay, the lion is hungry and the lion wants to eat. The lion isn't exactly celebrating over his hunt with the same type of benevolence that you see some humans do when they really overpower somebody else. Lions just, they're happy that they got a hunt that they can eat. And even then, they can't eat in peace. Okay, they got the vultures coming in trying to scavenge some of the meat. They've got to protect their kill. Then the male lions come in and then they basically tell everyone to get out of the way because they got to eat first. Sometimes even the lioness don't have enough food to eat, even though they've been doing such hard work hunting. Because then the male lions are like, "Okay, sorry, I'm stronger than you, so get out of here. Let me finish my food, and then if there's any leftovers, you can have it." So even when they hunt and they have a successful hunt, it's like a fight. It's a struggle. Who's gonna eat what? How much is enough? And then you've got all kinds of organisms trying to basically come in and take your kill. Lions, your own pride being one of them, okay? So you could see an animal like a lion, that is that is a life indeed full of suffering, indeed full of struggle. Indeed, it is a plane of existence where it's dukkha. It's pure dukkha. There's no pleasure. Even when they get a hunt, that they don't even have pleasure. They can't get a moment's peace to sit down and eat. They've got to constantly watch over. So this is why it's very important to, as Buddha says, to illuminate ourselves with right view, one of the tenets of the Eightfold Path, so that we can get past our ignorance and see things as they are. Because an ignorant person, such as myself, it's only now that I'm becoming more aware of this, would look at a lion and say, "Wow, I want to be a lion." Like, that's something I used to say a lot. I want to be a lion. It's gotta be cool being a lion. You overpower everybody. You're stronger than everybody. I even had a lion ring, and I really associated with the lion energy at the time, and I really I would say to myself, I want to be a lion. I want to be a lion, wow, it's too boring being a human. I don't want to be a human. I want to be a lion. They're strong, they're brave, no one can mess around with them. And now that you know what's happening and what the game is all about and how the reincarnation system works, you see, if you're incarnated as a lion, chances are you've probably done, your karma ain't so good right now. The balance is well in the negative, and that's why you ended up in the animal realm specifically as a lion. Chances are your samskaras. Samskaras are the impressions. Your spirits, your soul's samskara, if you incarnate as a lion, are in such a way that your soul is young, it's violent at this particular point in its existence, and so its energy propels it to incarnate as a lion. You see, because then if you're already coming from like a very violence filled, let's say you've been incarnating, for 50 lifetimes in a row, and all you've been experiencing is violence, that leaves what's called samskaras, impressions on your soul, if you will, like psychic DNA, think of it. And so then your energy propels you to keep on incarnating in these fight or flight filled type situations and existences. And so you end up being a lion. Not a very pleasant thing. It isn't. That's the truth. The truth is, it isn't. When you actually sit down and break it down, imagine, take a country like Syria, my original homeland, right? Syria. Nobody wants to be in Syria right now. 20% of the population is outside the country. Okay, nobody wants to be in Syria. Why? Constant fight or flight. Constant dukkha, constant suffering. So people leave. Of course they leave. Okay, it's constant fight or flight. Is there an artillery? Are they gonna come in now? What's gonna happen? Are we gonna die? We're hungry. We're starving. We're cold. So everybody leaves. If they can, they leave. And those who didn't leave, they wish they could. They probably don't have the opportunity. You see? So think of it like that. Think of it born as somebody like a lion or a rhino. Oh my God, a rhino. Jeez, they're violent. They're extremely violent, and they look. They don't look so beautiful. The last time I checked, okay, they look scary, outright scary. That's the manifestation, right? And so to manifest in such a being, you must have negative. Like, I don't want to say negative, but some pretty deep negative some karma, some skaras, impressions, leading you up to take up such a life. And so then the idea is to practice compassion to animals, because once you understand their predicament, you see that we could help them as humans. We're higher up on the evolution of consciousness. We really are. We could help them, and we're the guardians of this planet. And part of our existence as humans is to help other beings evolve on this ladder, on the evolution, the game of consciousness, evolution of consciousness. And animals are, without a doubt, they're playing the game at lower levels. Without a doubt, that is a realm full of dukkha, full of suffering. They don't get to experience pleasure, and even if they do, it's very flickering and momentary. You might get a sudden pleasure out of getting a hunt, but like I said, you're on your toes even as you're eating. Not a moment's peace. Not while you're awake, not a moment's peace. And even when you're sleeping, still, for that, maybe for lions, they're not so worried, but even then they've got to be worried because the other lions might come in or whatever. But what about if you're on the other end of it? What if you are prey? Okay, you can barely sleep because you're constantly worried if somebody's gonna come and hunt you. You see, so this is also like just to show you, they're not as they seem to be. Things are not as they seem to be, ladies and gentlemen. They are not. They absolutely are not. And I remember my first ever 5 grammer, okay? This was February, what was it, 2017? I think so. Anyway, that's not relevant. I ran across these, I don't know what the name is. These pelican-looking birds, okay? I don't know if they're pelicans per se, but pelican-looking, let's say, okay? And they sort of hang around in the lake. The lake was frozen. I was hanging around there with my friend. And I took off my shirt. We were doing crazy things. And so then I'm running across like a wolf, right? And I associated strongly at the time with the wolf energy. So I ran around, and then I saw this, bunch of these pelican-looking birds, whatever they are. And I looked at them, and their main guy, he came up to me, and he had a standoff with me. Okay, he standoff, and he kept like, it was brave of him, very brave of him, and he had to stand off with me, and I looked at him, and I wasn't afraid. I was able to telepathically calm him down because you're kind of practically enlightened on 5 grams of mushrooms. Really, like it's crazy what you could do. And so I had a telepathic communication with him that lasted maybe for a minute, where I calmed him down. He calmed down after. Okay, I told him that, look, I'm not here to hurt you or any of your family. I'm here. I love you, and after talking to him, I started slowly back off. And then I understood right away. Then I said to my friend, look, and this was like just something I never even thought of. It's just divine wisdom at that point. You're on 5 grams. You're God. You know it all. I told him, look, these animals they're not at the same level of consciousness as us. And I told him, look, we know more than they do. We understand more than they do. And I had never thought about this before. This knowledge comes to you when you drop acid or you eat mushrooms. I just looked at them. I'm like, look, they don't understand. We understand more than they do. Our awareness is it's more expansive than their awareness. We're aware of more than they are. Their level, I use the words, their level of consciousness is lower than us humans. You see? And truth is, they are. And so when you read about the 31 levels of existence and the realms and the different realms, and you get a little bit into it, you understand that it is the way. It really is constant fight or flight, dukkha, constant suffering. And so our job then as humans, because look, still being a human is okay. It's a precious thing, but you've got the entire God realm. That's another thing altogether. There are much more lighter and pleasurable realms than the human realm. So it isn't like being a human realm is exactly wow, okay? But it's, considering how many universes exist and how many realms and all the billions and trillions of beings that are in these realms experiencing dukkha, it's not so bad being a human being. But also there's a long way to go for us. And then ultimately, as Buddha would say, you should just try and get nirvana. Being a god might be pretty badass, but ultimately you want to reach nirvana, just total liberation. And so you're no longer bound in the cycle of samsara, because even the realms of gods are within the cycle of samsara. So yeah, now that I kind of understand this more, when I watch these documentaries, I just kind of look at these animals with compassion, instead of like, whoa, I want to be a lion, I want to shit on everyone, I want to be the most powerful beast in the savannas. You realize, yeah, they've got, it's a difficult existence. It really is. So very cool. Just wanted to share this with you guys. Very cool. I want to thank all the Patreons for supporting this channel. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much, and I love every single one of you. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, which like $2 a month, $2 a month, guys. Okay, you probably spend like $3 just buying a cup of coffee. So buy me a cup of tea. I don't drink coffee. Buy me a cup of tea. Okay? Come on, do it now. Do it now. I'm kidding. Only do it if you really want to do it. That's about it. Until next time, may the force be with you.